Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Benny.
And we had that 50 BPS rate cut. And I know there's been people asking in the comments, what does that mean for TLT or any of the bond ETFs? There's a bunch of them. Okay. So this is going to address that and what I am also doing because TLT's looking pretty sexy. So just a brief history here. These red lines are all rate cuts. Sorry, hikes. I gotta stop saying that wrong. Rate
Oh,
hikes. Okay, so this is going from 2020 and up. So you can see the effect it has on TLT. So this is obviously going from 0 to 5.5. All right. You have your period of super high inflation. And then, oh, let me do this so you can see my mouse. Super high inflation. These are hefty rate hikes. This was 6. We went from 0 to 4%. All right. You can see there's kind of like a delayed effect. And I talked about this in other videos of like 2 months. So it's not
no.
immediate, right? So I know that we have been on a little bit of an upslope here, but I don't think we're gonna hit 120 from one you know rate cut. I think it's gonna be some time, at least 6 months, maybe more, more to a year. Here's TLT more zoomed in. So these are the points that I am looking at that I'm trying to hit. So you have the 200 moving average right here. This is a line of resistance, and then I don't think we're going to hit this unless there's a recession, if I'm being
What,
completely honest.
what is the values of those two lines of
110
resistance?
and then
Okay.
135.
Oh, okay.
I don't. So where TLT really does well, especially as protection for my portfolio, I'll show you how much I have in it. I have a lot in it. It's if there is a recession, as I showed in previous videos, it spikes incredibly, like a
hmm
wild percentage. Now, Jerome Powell was pretty confident that there's not going to be a recession. I
Yeah.
was surprised to hear that. I was also
He,
surprised to see this is your favorite thing, your federal
oh, yeah.
fund CME watch tool.
Yeah. See the Federal Watch tool.
They're basically saying we're going to have another 25% to 25 BPS both times with a
Yeah.
98% probability here. That's pretty high.
Wow. Yeah. So you're looking at 50-50 on the next meeting, whether or not we see a 25 basis point cut. And then you're seeing almost certainty that we'll have 50 basis points, though, by the December meeting or the end
Yeah.
of this year.
So either 25-25 or 0-50. I would, I mean, I was very surprised on the 50, to be honest. So I would, it's really going to depend on this October 6th number that I'll talk about here. This is your inverted yield curve. So, we
Mhm.
passed it. There was some speculation if we're going to come back down. No, we're heading straight up here. We're going for
Nice.
it, right?
Yeah.
This is a done deal.
Off like a
So
rocket ship.
yes, I've talked about this Sahm rule before. I just wanted to bring this up, and I'm going to show you the value. So this has predicted every recession. It's been right every time. It is happening again, and even the creator is like, no, 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 no. I don't think this is going to
Yeah.
lead to a recession. They had some arguments, and it was on immigration and some other things. I feel like it's weird, even though because it's getting higher and they haven't spoken. It had peaked above zero point 0.5. So the
hmm
rule is when the 3 month moving average of national unemployment rises by zero point 0.5 percentage points or more from the low in the previous 12 months, it's just getting higher. I'll show you that this red arrow, just so you know, it did hit zero point 0.5 for 1 month and then came back
Okay.
down. Okay. So theoretically, if we go above zero point 0.5 and it comes back down, it may not happen. We're just going up.
Hmm.
So 0.53 July, 0.57 August. We'll get the September numbers end of September. And more
Mhm.
importantly, we're going to get the unemployment numbers, which is what I have been saying is the most important thing. So Jerome Powell, we talked about his speech. He seems pretty confident that we're good to go. Did you get that from him?
Absolutely. He is fully on board with the soft landing theory. And, he does highlight some interesting points about how in this economic cycle, jobs have come more into balance by having fewer job openings available
Mm-hmm.
than it has been by via like layoffs.
Right.
Okay. So
Okay.
it is a unique pattern we are observing during this like cycle of tightening and economic, rebalancing, as he kept referring it to as such.
Well, so that's where this gets interesting. Layoffs soared in August, hitting their highest total for the month in 15 years. Now, granted, guys, I don't know what the outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas is, so this may not be a reputable source. This is the article that's going around on Unusual Whales, CNBC. I am not familiar with them, so if someone's like, "Hey, they're idiots," I would just disregard this data entirely. All right, but
Yeah.
essentially, huge layoffs. Job cuts totaled 75,891, 193% higher than July, though it's only 1% higher than a year ago. On the hiring front, companies said they were adding just 6,100 new workers, up nearly 2,500 since July, but again, down more than 21% from last year. And then August's surge in job cuts reflects growing economic uncertainty and shifting market dynamics. So the early August numbers are going to be pretty huge. Sorry, early October numbers right here. Where is it? There you go. 10-4. So that's
Hmm.
going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up. That's for sure.
There's just I've done a couple of videos about it. There hasn't been a time, especially when we hit the Sahm rule, where if we're shooting up where there wasn't a recession. So we went to 4.3. We're down to 4.2. If this stays around 4.41, then we could be good. I think Jerome's right. I think
Yeah.
Mr. Powell's correct. But if this is shooting up, I just don't. I just it's just not what the data shows. I don't.
I think he called for a peak, or the Federal Reserve called for a peak at 4.4 for like the end of this year. But if anything has been obvious during watching their predictions come to fruition over the last like couple of years that we've been doing on this channel, they're never right.
I mean, they have a tough job. Ton of
Yeah,
variables. Like,
yeah.
jeez.
You get the
But yeah,
crystal
we'll
ball.
see. I'm keeping my eye on that number. Markets just hit all-time highs, so we'll have to see what happens here. Here's my TLT holdings. So I have an average cost 91.84. I have 1,025 1,125 shares. So I am sitting on this for a while until ideally 110.
Mm.
I did look at, if anyone was curious, the correlation of the interest rate with TLT and where the value was. It's pointless because unfortunately, we have never been sitting at 4 to 4.5% long for more than like 2 months. Every single
Okay.
time we've hit that, we're transitioning from low to high. So it was there for a month and a half. So it
Yeah,
was pointless. We've done it
that makes sense.
twice, and both times it was going from really high to really low. So
Mm.
it didn't make any sense.
Well, my boy's committed with his position sizing. Okay, we've learned that with this video.
There you go.
Uh, I highly implore you and anyone else watching to watch this video by that professor from NYU, Aswath Damodaran. He put one out yesterday about how dispelling a lot of Federal Reserve myths and how really the thing that they affect is confidence. That they actually have no like direct relationship with almost anything.
Okay. All
You gotta
right. So
watch it. It's
confidence.
25 minutes worth of, lecture showing, going through all the data about how, like, okay, are they actually like a bellwether? Do they actually move the markets? As we saw this time, particularly, mortgages and bonds had forerun the Federal, Reserve decision, right? We were kind of already expecting it and pricing it in many ways.
Yeah, no. And that's one thing I want people who are in the TLT trade to realize. We were chilling around 90 and then everyone was expecting a cut and we went to 100. So it's not like we're
Yeah.
going to go from this cut to higher. We're probably at fair value. It's not going to, this is where it should be.
Hmm.
I wouldn't, anyone who's in it who's like, oh, why aren't we going up from the half cut? We, we did go up. We, we were hanging around 90 for a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's more about the expectation of what they will do rather than their actual actions that move the market.
That's interesting. I'll have to watch that. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know what you
Catch you
think.
next one.